I love you.
Love you more, actually.
I was talking to Hi-Fi.
Oh,
I'm
how sad
kidding.
for me.
What the heck just happened? I don't know, man. That
Welcome, everybody, to Rad Pod and Chill. We are coming to you from the edge of the world. I'm Heidi Kuda. I'm here with Jim Stewartson and High Fidelity. This is our weekly recap of our weekly episode, and we have a big celebration happening tonight because
Because the
our
Raiders are winning. Sorry.
well, okay, cool. I'm happy to hear that. I almost ordered.
sports ball is not a reason for celebration. We are
No.
celebrating Andre Dirkosh.
I've liked the Raiders since I was a little kid. Sorry.
Okay, well, no reason.
Because
I've liked
they're the
I've
Pirates.
liked Cleveland Browns since I was a kid,
The
but I don't
Pirates are
celebrate
the bad
them.
guys. I like the Pirates.
Okay, sports talk is officially over, and now we're going to talk.
No more sports ball.
Now we're going to talk about. Actually, I have a funny story I'll tell you in a minute, but now we're going to talk about what I want to celebrate, which is that we hit 175,000 views on December 7th, which is a very important day in American history, and it's also an important day in RadPod history because 170,000 views over at our YouTubular channel is a big deal because, of course, we've been under siege for a year. People trying to discredit and disparage us, and still you guys don't believe it. And that's going to be a theme I want to talk a little bit more about because we're going to need everyone's help continually calling out the bad guys like all the time and hitting them where it hurts in their egos because they cannot win. And Jim and I were talking about this earlier with some of his friends. We need a tsunami of people not buying into what the demented evil crap they're selling. And I won't be so vague. We're going to talk about this. Anyway, yes, Hi-Fi.
Well, you don't just hit them in their egos. If you get close enough, hit them in the crotch because that really hurts.
So. Okay.
We're already at dick jokes, and
okay. Hey. We only have one rule, and it's no. And I break it all the time. So what am I talking about?
I know, right?
We have no rules.
We have no rules here.
We have no rules.
We have one rule, but we don't really pay attention to it.
Just a guideline.
It's more of a guide. It's more of a guideline, really.
Oh, my dearly departed
Heidi pretends to be upset for the new viewers. Am I right?
I am upset.
When there's a mention of any genitalia.
Yeah.
That's the way you say it in polite company. Genitalia.
So I did have a tax preparer back in the day, many years ago, and at his funeral, his son said,
that was a transition.
At his funeral,
was his name like Franz Genitalia?
No, at his funeral, his son said, to Nick, rules were only guidelines. I was like, that really did sum him up. And I've actually stolen that line many times. But no, we do have a show. There can be no genitalia jokes, spoken or unspoken, mimicked, mimed, whatever, because I just think it's too lowbrow. And yet, because that's our only rule, I break it more often than Hi-Fi breaks it, and he's the one that it applied to. Exactly. Oh my God. Hi guys, so much.
I mean, we sort of broke it for like 5 minutes now.
Okay.
I'm just saying the entire opening to this particular episode has been a dick joke.
Can we cut it in post, please? So to all the free Brittneys, let's celebrate free Brittney because that was very important. Well done, President Biden.
Awkward transition, but okay.
I'm trying to get away from, the you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to abruptly change the narrative.
That's one way to do it. Free
Speaking
Brittney!
of dicks, we just got rid of Victor Blount for Brittney.
Well, okay, so no,
And-
I think it's really important because as much as I am so traumatized every time I see another image of Navalny, who's obviously being abused in the gulag, I was very concerned over such a minor infraction as, weed residue that she should end up in a Russian prison, which nobody wants to end up there. It's like what Peter Tatchell was talking about. I may as well be a concentration camp. These aren't club feds. So I'm very happy that she's returning and score
No, it
one
was
for,
fucking terrible.
it's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what's amazing is watching all the Nazis on Twitter try and figure out ways that it's terrible.
Well, they've had a
Well, they try to bring up the Wayland guy, and that's just like Trump
just
was in office for
no,
2 years.
no.
They got him under Trump,
No,
and
dudes.
he was there for 2 years.
My dudes.
Yeah.
I've been studying this, for 9 months now. There has been a Prigozhin-like operation, large-scale subversion operation going with Brittney. I've been in communication with trolls from Russia who I've managed to sort of semi-befriend, who will have a mashup of Brittney and Kyle Rittenhouse as their avatar. This is clearly that's not an organic thing happening.
No, of course not. It's very,
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
soft spot. And there,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
the over and over, they look for these, kernels of dissent,
Yes.
as the Nazi and Ultra said. And by the way, that came up for me today again in a weird way that I wasn't expecting. Turns out that Mike Flynn's Turns out Mike Flynn's religion is based on the silver shirts.
Yes.
Were the Nazis
Yes.
in America. So Rachel Maddow's entire, not her whole podcast, but a lot of it is about the silver shirts and this guy named William Dudley Pelley,
Right.
who were planning an armed insurrection with dozens of cells of violent insurrectionists all across the country. And it turns out that Mike Flynn's favorite religion, which is this I Am Theosophy cult, was modeled on the silver shirts. Literally,
Yeah.
not only modeled on the silver shirts, it contemporaneously at the same time, but they literally poached members from the silver shirts to this I Am cult that Mike Flynn has been, pushing in various ways for many years now.
Wow.
And I find it fascinating that, literally the foundation of the thing that Mike Flynn is currently pushing are actual Nazis, like Nazis before the Holocaust, like OG Nazis.
I'm so glad that you are freaking on top of this. And I would actually like to quote you, my brother, because you said something brilliant today in that very Substack. You wrote a mental soft spot. The weaponization of religion is as old as religion itself. Authoritarians see it as a mental soft spot to target and redirect toward themselves. That's what Hitler did and what Mike Flynn is doing. That's so brilliant. Where did you come up with the mental soft spot? What made you think of that, or where did you get that from? Because it's genius.
I don't know. It's what it is. It's like it
comes from being a dad.
People aren't born with the idea that there's a magic man in the sky with a fucking harp.
Yeah.
You aren't born with that. You're not born with the idea that there's a great caterpillar either. But if from birth you are told there's a great goddamn caterpillar in the sky, you're gonna believe it, right? So it's magical thinking that's baked into people from a very young age, right? And I'm not making value judgments right now, although I could, but I'm not. It creates magical thinking that can then be warped. Right. If you can believe in angels and Satan and all kinds of weird fucking shit like that, we can take that idea about Satan and just move it a little bit and point it at Hillary Clinton, and suddenly you have a political result, right?
It's incredible.
So,
I mean,
so that's what I mean by a mental soft spot. It's redirecting, sort of damage, maybe too pejorative a word, but reorienting tendencies that have been put in there for a long time.
I know many people who have a belief in, let's call it a higher power and remove the God word, but they'll find something that they know is bigger than them and that they are not it. And yet they do not subscribe to any of this crap. Like, it's not like they could have you could, point a laser at them and really quite impact them. I do think it is a specific type of target that they're going for. And I also think with a lot of these, they're reinforced by the pastors in their churches. So I think that these bullet points that are spread around circulate also go to the pastors. And I'm speaking specifically of mostly the evangelical, sect of all of this, because they're working in conjunction with these extremists. The pastors get their talking points, and the folks that are the members of that flock get it from the church, and then they go out and they get it from the news that they follow. They get it from Tucker Carlson, and they are ensnared. So
I mean, the pastors, like, let's be straight. The pastors, a lot of them, the ones that have like signed on to this batshit stuff, are raking money in. Greg Locke,
yes,
who is
that's what I'm talking about.
This tiny little shithead in Podunk somewhere, now has like a goddamn tent with 10,000 people every weekend because Mike Flynn blessed him, and the entire cult, QAnon cult, has embraced him because he's willing to do shit like shoot people in the name of God or whatever the fuck he does. It's all this out there crazy shit, and he's willing to go on QAnon tours with Flynn and all these people. And guess what? Because of that, Mike Flynn brings his QAnon tour into what's his face's tent, and now all of a sudden he's got 1,500 more donations every Sunday, which is a shit load of money. Like, this guy's making millions of dollars a week. Right.
And
when he was just some podunk little Nazi, a couple of years ago.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And he is just one of them. He was interviewed in either Dr. Charles Creel and Kat Gellin's film or The Search for Q, one of them, right?
Search for Q.
Yeah, Search for Q. That was an incredible interview, because you're like, wait a minute. You're kind of like, what came first? Him being screwed up in his mind, or him screwing up people in their mind? Sometimes it's very curious which came first, the chicken or the egg. Who actually?
He also said Mike Flynn was cute.
No. This is a con man thing. You have to believe the bullshit you're selling.
That's often what takes them down, though, too, because that is something that in studies of authoritarian culture and in a lot of studies of like Russian history, when the authoritarians, dictators, start really believing their own lies is when they can often get in trouble. Did you see the video of Putin?
That's today? Elmo, by the way.
What do you think that is? Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Right. Yeah. Believing their own hype. I'm flashing my light up.
I mean, Elmo's whole.
Let me just tell you, I'm flashing my light up mini pen because my son gave it to me, and it's making me so happy. I almost have to hold a pen as a security blanket when I do the show, and my son gave me the mini pen, and it lights up, and I love it. Okay, I'm sorry. Back to dictators who believe their own crap.
Right. I mean, he has created his own reality around himself.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He has now gotten so big that if he has a brain fart about wanting to go to Mars, like, suddenly he's got SpaceX, and now he thinks he is some sort of literal godlike creature who it's like his duty to go impregnate as many people as possible. I don't know why I couldn't say the fucking word, because it's his duty to spread his goddamn GNA, all over his incel DNA all over the place. Like that's where
Well,
we've gotten with this guy. We're at full Epstein, full like psychotic, doesn't have any connection to reality anymore.
yeah.
And that's why, in my opinion, all the Nazi shit's coming straight out of him.
Mhm. So
Right?
that's exactly what I wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to talk about exactly that. So, okay, you had been for months warning, hey, they're not bearing the lead anymore. They're not hiding any of this anymore. It's all out in the open now. Like it used to be like cloak and dagger, and now it's like the fascism is all out in the open. So, what my question is, and I'm going to try to write something coherent
It
about
keeps getting
this.
more in the open, though.
What is the call to action from people who watch our show, who read our work, who read Byline Supplement, who check out Hi-Fi's TikToks, who have watched 52 episodes of Radicalized Pod, who really want to try because they've seen the disaster strike their own family? What is the call to action? What can we ask people to do? Because as you've said, they've moved that Overton window, right? So
Yeah.
this is all becoming normalized, right? And so and that is a horrible thing. So what can we ask people to do? Our viewers, our friends, and what can they tell people to do? Hi-Fi, I'm serious right now. The look on your face does not look
Oh,
like
I'm
you're
serious. I'm dead serious.
cage billionaires. I know. What
Well, no, 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 no. I want people to start calling their representatives and their senators and demanding accountability for not just January 6th, but the network behind it.
Okay, so that's good. That's great. Every time we ask people to do something like call their senators or whatever, it's like words like gerrymandering, redistricting, cap and trade, a million different things. People are kind of like, oh, yeah, I don't know that they do it. Like, there's got to be something. We now have the immediacy. Maybe it's tagging your senators. Maybe it's tagging, your electeds, maybe it's literally, figuring out what you can do in your community to mobilize people to make public statements against it. It's we got to shame these people on their way to prison, which I hope will happen with the high level perpetrators that tried to overthrow our government. They need to be shamed. It can't be something like, oh, here's a clip of somebody at Mar-a-Lago. Isn't that funny? Let's make fun of them. It's like, no, no.
By
We've
making
got
fun of them, you give them power.
Well, sometimes satire works, but in this case, it's absolutely ineffective and it also gains them headlines. Jim, you've studied this more than anybody I know. What can people do to thwart the normalization and let them know that we are on to them and we're not having it? Obviously, in the midterms, they voted. We had some success, so we know voting in solidarity is important, but we have all these minds to protect, all these young people coming up. Their Overton window is light years from when we grew up. So
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we've got to get people to fuck off Twitter.
okay.
And this is not just sour grapes. I
No,
mean,
I know that.
holy shit. First of all, there's some very interesting things coming out of the Twitter files, I have to say, this evening, which confirmed fucking everything I thought about how everything works at Twitter.
Okay.
Wow, first of all.
Okay.
They have control over all the stuff that you thought they had control of, including
Yeah.
being able to see your DMs.
Okay.
Yeah,
All of these fucking
no
consoles,
surprise.
it's
Yeah.
very bad,
Yeah.
really bad. I'm telling you right now, whatever fucking psyop that Elon Musk wants to run on you, he can. He has all of your information. He's got your they've got your shit. And Matt Taibbi apparently and Barry Weiss apparently have access to all our shit too. The screenshots they're giving are live. They're like right now.
Okay.
So he's just giving out access to everyone's private information, their private communications, and he's a goddamned Nazi, an actual Nazi. You don't go around doing 88s and Wojaks and fucking Pepes and all this shit if you're not a fucking Nazi. And he grew up in apartheid. And apartheid came from the Nationalist Party, was from the Nationalist Party, and the Nationalist Party came from the National Socialists.
Okay, so
fucking Nazis. Apartheid came from the Nazis. These guys grew up in apartheid.
So part two.
I wrote a piece called, and I'll shut up in a second. There's nothing neo about these Nazis. All these fucking people that are running this show appear to have actually just plopped back up, out of the goddamn soil, because they were allowed to crawl in there, and nobody went after them with a flamethrower the first fucking time.
So what? Okay, all right. So get off Twitter. People like me and Ruth Ben-Ghiat and others, we can't. We got to keep doing the work.
If you know, first of all, if you know what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with fighting. Do anything you want. There's no reason to take I'm not saying run away like a scaredy cat.
No, I know you're not. Trying to talk about protecting people.
If you're up for it, go to war. That's fine with me. But if you're going to be on Twitter, it's a battlefield.
Yes.
That's what you need to know.
Yes.
As long as you know it's a battlefield, go for it. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're not, Jim.
I got one. See if you can get Twitter is dying to trend. Do that one. That'd be fun.
Okay, well, so I'm thinking the other question I have for you guys is that I wrote something about, calling out this fascism, even if it's deemed impolite. And it's like the issue that I have is that people who do not study extremism as we do, they don't want to talk about this shit. And you guys we've talked about this before, but it's impolite to bring up the insurrection. It's impolite to bring up Elon Musk as a Nazi. It's impolite. We are so past the norms as we've been talking about, but how do we wake up people to realize that, again, we're not the enemy. Those who are seeing what's going on and saying, oh, he's using, Nazi rhetoric, or, oh, he's using, 4chan Nazi imagery, and he's got 110 million followers or whatever. How do we explain to people that we are so past the point of worrying about whether it's polite to have conversations about the lurching fascism in America right now?
The Chans have given us multiple mass shooters.
Okay.
What Elon Musk is doing right now is bringing those exact same tactics to millions of people in the hopes that he can turn a third of this country into mass shooters.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
You cannot be polite about that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And you can say, oh, that's impolite. You can't talk about that. How do you think Hitler came to power?
Yes, the problem is how do you introduce that to people without getting in their face and screaming at them about all the Nazis? Because it's fucking, it's very easy for us to scare the normies, as it were.
Yeah.
All of our doom and gloom and all the Nazis and all of that, and thankfully our friends and our audience is used to our subject matter to some extent.
Well,
but it's shocking shit, right? Wait, what do you mean the space rocket guy is fucking not nuts? What are you talking about?
Right.
It just doesn't even compute to people.
Right.
I had this conversation with somebody this afternoon. Very nice guy, like been an entrepreneur for 25 years. And I was like, Elmo is a lot. I said to him, Elon Musk is, doing some serious Nazi shit. He's like, no.
I know.
I was like,
they don't want to hear it. They don't
I
want
was
to hear
like,
it.
yes.
Yeah, they
He's
don't
like,
want to hear it.
no. And he wasn't
Yes.
actually like disputing me, as he just couldn't believe it. And I had to, spend 20 minutes, showing him a few things. He was like, oh, okay, fuck.
Is that it?
Um,
We're gonna have to show people one at a time. Like, I mean,
it's kind of is, right? Like you need to get this goddamn information out, which is why
Well,
I have been holding on for dear life for 2.5 years,
okay.
trying to get this information out. Because once people understand,
Yeah.
seriously, the
Yeah.
people doing this are Nazis,
Yeah.
the actual kind that murdered millions of people.
Yeah. And as
For
Jason
being
Stanley
nothing
said,
but who they were, and are now spreading those same conspiracies about those same fucking people.
as Jason Stanley said, it may not end up looking like that in America. It'll be a different type of it'll be a different type of brutality, but a brutality nevertheless. So
I don't know. They're just going straight for it.
So
Seems
the
like.
other thing I want to talk about, because I think so much of this has been cloaked behind that weaponized irony. So much of this has been, oh, they can't really mean it, or oh, the like the Trump era grabbed them by the what, oh, boys being boys, like, isn't this just so funny? There's nothing funny about it. And I'm looking forward to when we have Fred Gutenberg on the show, so he can tell you how unfunny all this rhetoric is, because this is a man who will be in mourning for his daughter, forever. And I'm very grateful that he channels his sorrow into activism, because he is one of those warriors on Twitter who calls out all of these horrible people all the time. Yes, Hi-Fi.
It's all about the platform. And yes, Fred can call out people on Twitter, and maybe the media will pick that up. But the problem is, they control Twitter as a platform. So any organizing he's doing can be infiltrated. They can also control the media, because we know that they have anarcho-capitalists controlling a number of the large media channels, as well as the right-wing channels.
Yeah, infiltration's a theme. I mean, everything that was, just like Hemingway said, everything that was ever any good you paid for. That's what the infiltration's been like, with all the good movements. And which brings us to episode 52, which this is allegedly the live stream recap of. Do we have anything that we can show from Jack A. Bryan's interview, about his incredible podcast, American Psyop, which focuses on what
I kept a
happened
nugget.
Wesley Clark Jr. I'm looking so forward to this. What a great interview, by the way.
Oh yeah, it was.
What's your nugget?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Our Easter egg.
I'm all for nuggies.
Okay,
Yep.
so I mentioned that when actually my business partner Marley, when she spoke to Wes in 2017, I first heard his story. The first time within hearing the story where I was like, nope, this is bullshit, was because I thought it was completely unbelievable that a certain popular rapper would be hanging out with a bizarre right-wing network and talking about running for president.
Yeah, okay, beautiful. Thank you. That was really
Whoa,
important.
shit.
That's what's up right there. That's what's up.
Hey, I added music. Did you like it?
I enjoyed it very much. First of all, Jack is just so goddamn handsome. Like, what a handsome guy! I just have to point that out. I have friends of mine who are just like, wow, Jack. So he's really brilliant and he does great work. But easy on the eyes. Yeah. So I guess he was probably talking about.
agree.
He was pretty. He was prettier with the beard, and that's my point.
So yeah, so I hope that did not go over the heads of our viewers that he was talking about a rapper hanging out with right-wing extremists who mentioned running for president. So that same rapper also spent a little time, in Russia. Probably has a bit of snow on his boots.
That dude's just straight mind fucked by
Oh my God.
Eric Prince and other associated mind fuckers.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
dude got his brain opened up, and a bunch of Nazi stuff got stuffed in there, and he's a schizophrenic, manic depressive, and they just broke him.
I'm just sad. It's all so awful because
I
again,
mean, look,
know,
he's a piece of shit. No one turns anyone into a Nazi if they don't have that in them. And he's always been a piece of shit.
but I disagree though. I
But he
disagree
has,
because we have met good
okay, it
people.
doesn't matter. I don't want to argue
Okay,
about Kanye West. I don't give a shit about Kanye West.
okay.
He's a fucking Nazi now. That's what matters. And there's no excuse for it.
Thank you.
Well,
if he stopped being a Nazi, I would probably go back to being like, all right, that's cool.
Well,
but
I don't think you get a pass for praising Hitler in front of tens of millions of people.
I know that, but what I'm trying to say is that we have met people who were perfectly normal, decent people who maybe had a soft spot in their head,
sure,
who then got turned out and became right-wing extremists, and then they came back. Our friend Jason Van Tatenhof is one of them. I'm in contact with Jason. He's doing really great. He's got a book coming out, and
but Jason never he didn't run around praising Hitler.
No, he did not.
He was with people who
he did not.
Right.
And Jim actually, it was people in praise of Hitler denying the Holocaust that made him snap out of it in one heartbeat.
That's right.
So you're right.
Because everyone has a inherent ethics, right? Some of it is you're born with, and some of it your parents you fuck up. Right? And once that's set, you are who you are, and Kanye West is a piece of shit. No one can make you be a Nazi, but if you're open to it, they can. It happened to, and think about all the Nazis in Germany, right?
Yeah.
And people, this is not a new thought, but there's a fucking shitload of Nazis in Germany, and not all of those people were, horrendous genocidal murderers when they started, right?
Speaking of
the problem with undue influence, with brainwashing, with cults, which is why we focus on all this goddamn fucking shit.
Speaking of which, I did a piece yesterday on how none of this would actually even be happening if big business did not support fascism, which is something that I think needs to be addressed. And number two, there were arrests in Germany yesterday, 25 of them to start in a massive.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, let me take that one for a second.
Please.
Well, I just like first of all, she included to start. That's the important.
First of all, let's talk about billionaires. What the fuck? Like you were talking about all the like Kanye praises Hitler, Elon Musk lets Andrew Anglin, the head of and then Trump says fuck the Constitution because I'm sad about the election.
Yeah.
Right? The ex-president says terminate the Constitution. These are billionaires.
Right.
This is what happens when we have this dynamic, and I've written about this, where it is a benefit to you in a Darwinian way to be a fucking sociopath in business, which is why you get all these sociopaths at the top. Is why Donald Trump and Kanye West and fucking Elon Musk are billionaires, because they don't have the gene where they give a shit about other human beings.
Well, maybe we need to
And
stop
so,
idolizing that, maybe
well, we
capitalism
should
needs a
stop
rethink.
idolizing it, because the problem is they make more of themselves, right? The psychopath, and you saw it with Elon Musk. He literally sorted all the non-sociopaths out, right? He fired half the people just because whatever. And then he went through this entire process of winnowing down the people who gave a shit about either themselves or anyone else, right?
Yeah.
And built a little team of sociopaths that he's got locked up in the fucking 10th floor. And that's why, there's the element of unfettered capitalism has got to be ultimately dealt with in this equation, because right now we're going to on the verge of having a class warfare before we have anything else, because you've got morons like Elon Musk who's trying to send a white ethno state to Mars and leave the rest of us on a burning ember. That's what he's literally trying to do, and fuck that shit.
All right, well, all I know is
anyways
that
sorry, I went off about billionaires. We were going to talk about Germany real quick.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm very TED Talky today. I apologize.
Focus, Germany.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
German QAnon. It was QAnon. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
It was. First of all, let's talk about the scope of this thing. 3,000 police officers participated in 130 simultaneous raids across all 16 states of Germany. That's not a small thing. The 25 arrests as a whole is a relatively small number compared to the scale of this thing.
Wow.
They went and they got all this shit. And the reason is because that Germany actually has laws against this stuff. They care if you're going and doing Nazi shit because they've seen it before. So they have actual police forces that are only there for this, right? So when some ancient ass like Ottoman prince or some shit got it in his head, Mr. Reichsberg or something, got it in his head that he was going to be the king of Germany, and he got a whole bunch of QAnon people in Telegram chats or some shit to actually start planning real insurrection, like a lot of them all over the country, little cells of people with their fucking guns and their little Nazi flags and all their stuff. They were planning it out. But Germany came in and fixed it. But importantly, they were using QAnon fiction.
Yes.
The whole idea is that the deep state had taken over Germany, and this fucking old Nazi was gonna come in and fix everything. Also, a whole bunch of Russians were involved in this thing. A lot of them.
Yeah, one of them was picked up,
and in the periphery. So
which should surprise no one.
It's
shocking.
Just QAnon Germany. Also, last thing, Mike Flynn all of a sudden recently has had this German chick on his QAnon Psyops tour,
a German Red Sparrow,
who wears a trad wife outfit and is a literal psyops officer from the German military who got kicked out apparently a couple of years ago because she's an extremist lunatic. And now she's on Flynn's psyop tour. What's going on here, and why
wearing a dirndl dress, which I told Jim earlier I grew up wearing. It was a Bavarian style of dress, but apparently that has been weaponized too.
Love that.
Yeah,
that's what they want all the women to be. They want you pregnant and barefoot and in one of those goddamn dresses.
I'm horrified. One thing I want to say that I learned from Jason Stanley, and I wrote about it last night, and I will be always unpacking more things that I've learned from Jason and his work, is that part of how the business elite will go ahead and support the authoritarians is because they have the promises of, fewer regulations, the lower taxation, all of that. But they also have the promise that the authoritarians will take care of labor. In other words, try to crush labor unions. Historically, countries that have strong unions also have less inequity economically, and they tend to thrive and they tend to have progressive leaders. So here, if you've made that deal with the authoritarian and your promise is that they will take care of labor, guess what? That pushes the countries more. It stokes more inequality economically, which also creates the type of environment where it's easier to have authoritarian capture occur. And I share this with you for two reasons. One quickly, high five. Because everybody needs to read How Fascism Works by Jason Stanley and watch our episode with Jason, which I believe was 49, episode 49, maybe, or 48. Could have been 46. I don't know, but it's there. It's in the 40s. But also Jason got off Twitter as of yesterday. And even though I respect his decision and I think it's great and it's great for his family, I also am in mourning because, again, there's a few people that I would turn to all the time, every morning, first thing. And one of them was Jason, to get his insights and his clarity on what was happening, and also his great sports commentary, because him being a nerdy, Yale professor, knew nothing about sports. So his commentary about the World Cup was just like epically funny. He's hilarious. But, I lost you, Jim. I lost Hi-Fi. Jason's gone. And it's like, it's
Come to Mastodon. Stop screwing around on fucking
Stop
Twitter.
messing around. Just come over to Mastodon. Just
I'm there.
It's
I'm there.
literally,
just
listen.
tell everyone. Just repeat, put it on repeat. Make it your pin. Here's my freaking.
Listen, just try it for one day. Just try it. We had multiple people in the Zoom today go like, no, seriously, it's amazing.
Okay.
And I detoxified from Twitter, sorta, even though I was being traumatized by Twitter trolls for a fucking year while I wasn't there.
They're still probably traumatizing.
Oh no, they're whatever. But so I'd sort of detoxified. So I was just like, ooh, this is cool. It's like Twitter, except for all that shitty shit.
Yeah.
Other people have it's taken them a little bit more time to transition.
I'm finding all my friends there. I'm happy to see them. I feel like
the
we're on
thing
Survivor
is,
Island.
The thing is, DMs are not DMs, and they never were at Twitter either. And that's sadly what a lot of people are about to
President Jackie, breaking news from President Jackie Singh.
Shit.
She just sent me a DM. She said that Bari Weiss said DMs, but what she posted were Slack DMs. I believe the resulting confusion and conclusions people will come to as a result of her failure to specify which service will have been entirely intentional on her part. President Jackie Singh also says the point is to whip up frenzies using limited, carefully framed information to provide the false impression of corruption, Russian style. So,
yes and no. I agree. First of all, I would never disagree with President Jackie.
No, because she can kick off.
I would like to know, where is President Jackie on Mastodon? That's what I'd like.
She's there. I think she's there. She's there.
She's there.
She's there. She's there. She's there.
I gotta find her.
Yeah.
All right.
President Jackie Singh is there.
I'm trying to get her to move over.
Just pull
yeah,
over.
She's there. She's at. Wait a second. She's at hacking but legal at infosec.exchange. Just FYI.
Oh, she's hanging out with the InfoSec kids. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But it's boring over there. You come over to Toad.
Coming to Toad Social, Jackie.
Yeah, it's where the cool kids are, man.
Hey, so
are you guys recruiting? Oh my God, stop.
So can we please also show my debut story in Byline Supplement, which I'm really excited about. Trigger warning. It has a picture of Trump in it, but it's for an important reason. Do we have that Byline Supplement? I want to thank all of my friends.
Yeah.
seriously, I want to thank my friends who've been supporting me at Betty Dangerous because they've also been supporting Byline Supplement. We just launched like a week ago. So why this is important is because I saw what was happening when Trump made his 2024 announcement. And once again, except for NPR, the entire media landscape was just like Trump announces his, run for 2024. There was no, leader of an insurrection, there or all this stuff under investigation. None of that stuff. It was just they just framed it normally. So I realized that was very upsetting to people like me who've been doing this pro-democracy activism and journalism for quite some time. So what I thought would be useful was to take the speech and pull out chunks of it and then match it with Jason Stanley's sections and how fascism works, unreality, the mythic past, sexual anxiety, anti-intellectualism, and show if baby Goebbels, if Stephen Miller was the one who was writing it, I don't know, but presumably it certainly wasn't Trump, show that these are actual fascist moves. So it's not just to take it for the surface. And there was one line that I wrote, Hi-Fi, that was really good, but the upshot is that journalists can no longer do what they've been doing. They can't just report and frame it. They absolutely have, and it doesn't serve the people just to report things straight. Now I realize we have corporate media, and many of them are the business elite that supports authoritarians. But for those who still want to call themselves journalists, they cannot be doing what has been done for 6 years. It doesn't serve the people. You have to call it what it is, and you can't normalize it anymore. I'm going to have to pull up my quote because I can't remember it right now. But anyway,
hold on, let me look for it. Where is it?
Oh, it'll be the nut graph, third graph probably. It'll
Politics of crime control, victimhood.
Did you say the nut? Did you say the nut graph?
Then there's a
Hey, stop it.
There is a term.
Heidi.
There's a term in journalism called the nut graph, and that nut graph is what encapsulates what's the story.
Did you just go encapsulates? Is that what you did? I think you did. You said that's how it encapsulates.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. This is why I look so forward to seeing you guys, because it's just so much
We're
fun.
fucking goofballs.
Goofballs. Oh, you're right.
I thought it seemed like Heidi was being a goofball.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I've got nothing to say to that, but Hi-Fi, it's like the third paragraph. It's like the third paragraph, second paragraph.
I don't know. I'll just pull it up.
I'm just trying to kill time with witty banter. That's
okay.
Hi-Fi gets his shit together.
Scroll back. All this stuff is good though, and I really do hope. Oh, trigger warning. Keep going. Back. Trigger warning. Okay. Yeah, here we go. With the disgraced, twice impeached former president now back in the ring, pro-democracy reporters are facing whiplash as corporate media outlets continue to platform him while failing to confront the fact that their outdated ideas of journalistic impartiality are failing the very people they're meant to serve. Go, girl. Some good shit right there.
That's good shit.
That's some good shit right
I'm
there.
tired. I'm tired of people talking about this motherfucker at all, but like there's been this big hubbub about Trump hosting a Pizzagate person.
Yeah.
Turns out that wasn't Trump that was hosting the Pizzagate person. It was Mike Flynn,
George Washington,
out Mar-a-Lago. Trump happened to show up there and took a picture with this woman, but Flynn invited an entire party of Pizzagate people in to Mar-a-Lago, like Liz Crokin and all the bad ones, like the real nasty ones who traumatized people and happened from 2016, brought them together for an America's Future event in which Mike Flynn dressed up as George fucking Washington in an I am getup And
That's not
I
very
don't
future. That's
I
kind of
don't know how to
retro.
no, it's not.
Not very future.
And you know,
Uh,
he's channeling George Washington because he's in the I am cult, which came from the Nazis.
right,
And it's
right,
all
right.
fucking weird and
I'm exhausted.
I'm so
And
exhausted.
even talking
But I
about it, hearing
think we're
about it.
getting to the boss level.
But if we ignore it, if we don't report on it and we ignore it because of exhaustion, that's bad too. So we have to keep going.
You know, I feel like, listen, we're getting back to the actual Nazis now, right? We've made we've made our way all the way from. I started looking into this weird ass QAnon thing that, you know, people were talking about on Twitter, and how come all these weirdos are talking to Chrissy Teigen, and you know, and I ended up, guess where?
Yeah.
The fucking Nazis.
Right.
Because I mean, literally Mike Flynn psyoping people into this Russian propaganda based on anti-Semitic neo-Nazi shit that turned into the Third Reich. The
Right.
protocols got picked up by these morons, by the Blavatsky people and all these fuckers, turned it into Ariosophy and the Aryans and that whole mythos, which Hitler picked up and turned into the Third Reich.
I just realized something.
I'm just saying, it all goes there.
What I realized was that, like, nobody wanted to talk about it in the 30s either, right? In polite society, right? Because
That's right.
some of them were sympathizers, and some of them were just like, oh, it's just too awful. Well, guess what? That didn't stop it from happening. And so, so places like the journalists at the Munich Post, they never stopped reporting. Unfortunately, we lost them, which I think about too. It's like, but you know, you can't look away because it's ugly and it's horrible and nobody wants to talk about it, because then what happens? Then what's next?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, what had to happen was, you know, the unfortunately atrocities had to happen.
Yeah. I'd like to get to the answer to the question we've been asking week after week. If we are a country of rule of law, if we are a rule of law country, then help us out. Then help us see our way out. Yes,
I mean,
you know,
I hate to be fucking Mueller time all over again, but Jack looks like he's playing ball.
Jack's playing ball. Jack's
So,
working.
you know, I am holding all fire on all of that.
Jack needs to do his fucking job because somebody tried to overthrow our government.
Somebody still tried to overthrow our government. That's the problem.
And
it's not that they did 2 years ago.
Excuse me, we have had multiple instances of domestic terrorism around the country with people shooting up power substations. Attacking infrastructure. Where the hell is the FBI? Where the hell is the Department of Homeland Security? Where? You have an answer?
I know the answer.
So the people who shot up the substation last time, the people who did that the last time were
Are we talking
Adam
the
Waffen.
Ohio case or the North Carolina case or the Oregon cases?
I'm talking the Ohio case, the Adam Waffen.
So you're saying that
there was a plan to do this before, exactly this plan with the fucking rifles shooting into substations, causing explosions, and the whole bit. That was a plan before, or to get rid of the oil, which causes bomb and makes a big fucking mess. The people who did that before were Adam Waffen, who were Nazis, who literally came from the Iron March board, which was created by a Russian who went to Moscow spy school.
How many more Russians is it going to take? How many more traitors is it going to take? How many more? I think I asked this last week or on episode 52. How many more? How many more do we have to take? Do we want to watch a video from like the 1940s where they actually knew this was happening? Like,
yes,
you know, Do we
We
need to go
do.
back 80 years in order to figure out what to do today?
Yes, that's what we need to do. Let's do that right now. I don't want to totally end on it. I want to talk about it for a second after.
Let's do it.
I would like to offer this thought experiment. I would like our audience to consider what would happen if during World War II, Hitler and Stalin got along, talked China into kind of helping out, and they both said, hey, let's go fuck up America.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Because that's what we're looking at.
That's what we're looking at.
All right. Thanks for making it even worse.
Well, I mean, again, I'm always comforted by knowing the facts, as brutal as they are.
What I do.
That's what you're here for, High Five. Play the clip.
I forgot which clip I'm playing.
You're playing.
Well, yes, but he was talking about, what about those other people?
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people, all of us.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin.
What were you doing there?
I was a professor at the university. I heard the same words we have heard today. But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, that was not easy to do. They had to work hard to do it. You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us, made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it, and it isn't going to be you.
Yep. So the longer version of that is in that same thread on Twitter. We should somebody should tweet that where that thread is, because there's a 22-minute version of that, which shows which has a lot.
It's titled "Don't Be a Sucker." It is a 1947.
It's iconic. 1942, actually.
Yeah. No, it matters.
It's
that
iconic.
It came out 47. 1947. Oh. Don't be a sucker.
I think it might have been earlier, but that's okay. Whatever. It's iconic. I think it was because it's like vintage noir era. So I think it's 42. The point is that it shows exactly the type of.
No, we're both wrong. It's 1943.
Okay, there you go.
It was during the war, is the point, and they're making a very clear point. One bit of trivia about that video, which is really interesting, is that the guy that he's sitting next to only has pause because the guy says that we don't like Freemasons, and the guy says, I'm a Mason, and he shows his Mason ring, and then some other guy goes, I'm a Mason, and it's just very interesting that in the 40s that was actually a thing. Like, it mattered,
The casting was incredible because, like, the guy who the professor from Hungary who was trying to, talk the guy out of it, you could see that the actor was so well cast, because that's how it feels when you're trying to tell somebody to not believe this radicalization crap. They're already believing it. It's already in their head.
The example, the reason why it, is the classic thing. It came from the Masons, and the guy says, says to him, you weren't going to say anything unless they came for you. Right. And that's the lesson, and it's a very basic lesson, but it's good to just see that very basic thing portrayed in a way that's feels real and empathetic.
Well, also
there's so little of it.
It's the same narrative and the same hooks and the same playbook 80 years later.
Oh yeah,
So
when you watch the
so
rest of it,
like
it's all America, America, blah blah blah. Except you know,
so let's
yeah.
think about that, and let's let that be, let's let that be where we
Hi-Fi has one more dick joke.
yeah, no, stop it, you guys. Dudes, cut that in post, please. Cut it in post. Oh yeah, we're live. Okay, hi-fi. What is your comment?
Killer Mike said, I promise our mothers they're coming for you the day after they're coming for me.